Motivation and inspiration, two terms that are often used together, but frequently confused for one another. Now, there's a relationship between the two, but how they play a role in your life in terms of your effectiveness and your achievement is uniquely different. In this episode, I'm going to teach you exactly what the distinction is between those two terms. Welcome to another episode of Holistic Lifestyle Coaching with Ryan David. I'm Ryan David, and today, I broke out the blue suspenders for you, baby. Motivation, inspiration, got me hyped. Now, if you're new to distinctions and this is the first episode you've run across, this is episode 3, so you've missed 2 already. Where you been? A little bit about what I'm doing in this series called Distinctions, taking two terms that might be used together or misunderstood for one another, or that we've heard before and don't know the difference between them, and making the distinction as to what means what and how it can be applied to your life in order to increase your effectiveness and help you with achievement and success and personal growth. Now, today's episode, what I'm talking about specifically is the difference between motivation and inspiration. Huge difference, believe it or not, and it has to do with internal and external. And I'll get to that a little bit more later on. But first, let me give you a metaphor to relate to that will give you a good idea of what I'm referring to and how we want to look at these two terms, motivation and inspiration. And it actually has a little bit to do with that internal-external concept or aspect of what we're talking about today. And so here's the metaphor. When it comes to motivation, think of motivation as a fire that's lit that really causes you to move, take action, do something physically, right? Just to get going, right? That metaphor for motivation would be a fire that's just burning. It gets started either around you, in you, on you, around. External fire, motivation, okay? Whereas inspiration is more like a light bulb that goes off internally. And so most of the motivation that we think of actually is a fire that's lit around us or under us and gets us to get going. Now, the motivation we're going to get to that we want to start to really achieve or tap into is going to be more of an internal motivation. And that internal motivation a lot of times stems from inspiration. I'm ahead of myself though. Let me slow down. There's a lot of misconceptions about these two terms, motivation and inspiration. And in terms of the relationship between the two, many people think they lack motivation when in actuality, they lack inspiration. Let me give you an example. So say you're not motivated to do your homework, or you're not motivated to go to the gym, or you're not motivated to get that job done at work. If you're not motivated to do something, my first question to you would be, what's your reason for doing it? Is it important to you? Is it relevant? See, most of the time you don't lack motivation. What you lack is inspiration in that area or with that specific aspect of your life or whatever it is that you need to do. You have no reason or intention for doing that thing. Why would you be driven to do something or work towards something or accomplish something that doesn't truly matter to you or isn't important? See, the inspiration is the important part. The inspiration is the it matters part. When you're inspired to do something, there's meaning there. So when you find a reason or a meaning or something that's important about the things that you want to get done, when you find something about them that's relevant to your life and something that actually matters, then you'll be inspired to relate that to yourself and to that importance. And from that importance, from that inspiration about why that thing now matters to you, then motivation can be born. And usually is. See, inspiration involves a thought, an idea, a vision, something that's born within, something that is unique. It's created from within inside of you and it's yours. Now, it may be brought on by something externally. It can be inspired by something externally. You can hear something, see something, experience something, go through something. You can have an influence on you that causes something internally to become inspired, or you become inspired by that thing. But make no mistake about it, inspiration is internal. Let me give you an example. My teaching style with my students at the college. My teaching style can be seen as motivational, but in all actuality, I strive to inspire. It's only seen as motivational because when I teach and I'm looking to reach my students, what I do is I look to tap into something inside of them and help them become aware of something or discover something internally within themselves that then bubbles up once again that they become aware of, and they decide, wow, I'm really inspired to make that shift, to take that action, to do this, to change that, to work on this. And that's the inspiration that then maybe results as motivation. But initially, I'm trying to inspire you, not just motivate you. Now, motivation alone may be a consequence for some of my students because I'm passionate and I'm enthusiastic and I have a lot of energy when I teach, and that might be contagious, and they may leave my classroom in that moment very, very motivated to get something done or do something, even if they don't have something necessarily that's bubbled up inside of them that they're inspired to do. So motivation can be a consequence, but what I'm looking to do really is tap into something something deeper, something more authentic, and have something become, born from within that then spawns, that inspiration spawns their own internal motivation. Because I'm not looking to just pump up and hype up my students externally, and that's the difference. Internal and external motivation is the key. It's very critical. Inspiration can lead to internal motivation, and that is the route that we want to go. Now, that's a different route than being in front of someone else or experiencing someone else that motivates you externally and you're hyped in that moment to get something done. That may be beneficial too if you're looking for a quick pump, but make no mistake about it, that's not gonna last because you're relying on and looking externally for that source of motivation and that drive, something to externally push you as opposed to it coming from within. So there's really two forms of motivation, internal and external. And the internal motivation stems from inspiration, that deep-seated, meaningful reason why you're driven to do what you want to do. Great teachers, leaders, and speakers don't just motivate. They actually don't look to motivate at all. And I'm actually working on another video right now to post, and it has to do with fake hype and empty motivation that I see on YouTube, whether it's a personal trainer or a businessman just hyping up his audience or his viewers and just talking about how to get going and get motivated and throwing a bunch of empty hype. Let me calm down. That's for another video. Anyway, look for that one. And it has to do with the motivation that's all external and it's just a quick pump. I don't think that that's what real true leaders, speakers, or teachers look to do. They look to find something within whoever they're speaking to and light that match internally that stems from that inspiration in that individual that then they can take and move forward with, and it burns from within on their own. Now, motivation doesn't always follow. We can be inspired with great ideas or great projects, or we can be inspired with a movement and not take action. The action part would be the motivation. But the inspiration is really where you have that cause, that reason, that idea, that vision. That is the core of what is, that's the product of your inspiration. Let me give you another real life example in terms of internal and external motivation and how we can take this and apply it to ourselves on our own and not look externally. Tony Robbins, my idol. I learned a lot from him. I went to his seminar twice now, UPW, Unleash the Power Within. One of the biggest criticisms of UPW or of Tony's events, at least the one that I went to, is that when you're there, you feel unstoppable. You feel like Superman or Superwoman. You really feel like you can take on whatever challenges life throws at you. And you literally leave that event. It's a 4-day seminar. You leave that event and you go back to wherever you came from and whatever you were doing, ready to take on whatever challenges you face. The criticism comes from a lot of people who realize that 3 and 4 weeks after they leave the event, that motivation and that drive and that feeling of unstoppability starts to fade. Now, here's the thing though. Tony acknowledges this and he tells you from the get-go, if you leave here today with this drive, with this motivation, with this pump, right, that I've brought out of you or helped instill right here in this moment, or that you feel from this environment, if you leave here today and you just rely on that alone, it will not last. It will fade. It will go away. He tells you that. What he tells you need to do is you need to tap into your reasons why you're motivated and take those reasons with you along with some habits that you can apply every single day that help keep that momentum going and keep that motivation and that fire burning within you. But if you don't have those reasons that are yours and your only reason to be motivated came from someone on stage or 4,000 people around you being motivated, that's not gonna last. And he tells you that up front. So he's really saying, hey, find something internally here, turn this into something internally and take it with you. Don't rely on external motivation. Unless you're looking for a quick pump to go get something done right then and there. It's not gonna last long term. Motivation needs to stem from being inspired or created internally for it to last long term, period. Motivation is really only relevant under 2 circumstances. The first one is when you have an idea that's born. The second one is when you have a specific outcome or goal in mind or in your sights. Now, for the idea, motivation is important because you want to help bring that idea to life. That's where inspiration may lead to an idea or a thought or a vision. An idea is born, and for that idea to get any legs or to bring that idea to life, you need the motivation to carry that out. Motivation is critical in that situation. The other situation is if you have a specific outcome or goal, and you know what you want, and all you have to do is get from here to that thing. That's the other situation where motivation is relevant because you have to get from here to where you know exactly where you want to go. Here's the thing though. If you have a specific outcome, a goal, and you know where you want to go, and you're still not motivated, you can't find the motivation even though you know exactly where you want to go, your issue is that goal or that outcome is not relevant enough to you. It's not meaningful enough. it doesn't have a strong enough purpose. You haven't become inspired by what that outcome means to you. When it becomes relevant enough and it matters enough to you, then you'll get motivated to go from here to there. But until then, motivation serves you no purpose, or you may not be motivated even with that specific outcome in mind. So the key is consistently search and live your life looking for inspiration. Get to know yourself. Self-discovery, self-awareness is important. Find out what you love, what matters to you, what's meaningful to you. Become inspired. From that inspiration, internal motivation may and will be born. In terms of motivation, attach your motivation to something that matters. Don't just think you're motivated and you're driven, you're gonna get everything accomplished and you're all over the place. You need clear direction and you need purpose and you need reasons why what you're doing is important, and you need specific outcomes on the other end. Motivation is great, but use it by attaching it to something that actually matters. Question for you, now that you know the difference between inspiration and motivation, where do you find your inspiration and motivation? Leave it in the comments below. I hope you found this distinction useful. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more episodes of Distinction just like this, and also more video content that I'll be releasing on a weekly basis. Hit that thumbs up if you like this video before you leave. Until next episode, take care. All right, here we go. Let's do it. Are we doing a mic check? I don't know. Do we need a mic check? I don't know if we need a mic check or not. I'm bouncing. I need a stage. Do we need to do a mic check? I'm kind of hyped right now. You never know what you're going to get around here. And I need a stage right now. Don't just get... Boy, I know I need some sun, though. I'm whiter than Donald Trump's cabinet. Looking externally, I'm too confined. You don't put comments in the description section, broski. Google. I'm all over the place right now. You never know what you're gonna get around here.